We'll try this. We'll try this. Super live. Hey, there's a notification. Yeah. Everybody's out watching Trucker's Coach, probably. What is up? People of Earth. People of Earth. And here's the thing, I'm getting loaded, right? And my truck didn't move until I hit that live button. So it's kind of like if you're not getting loaded, either go live or take a nap, and boom, you'll be loaded in 10 minutes. So, all right, let's see. We got Salty Pirate, Big Rich, Raw Rider, Trucker Seals, Big Houston, Nathan Aburo, Pilgrim, Provost, Thomas Wilson. You're riding in the vet. It's cold. Well, you need to close that roof thing there. Jeff Beard, I am Small Fry. It is sunny, cold, and icy from the blizzard up in Kansas City, Missouri yesterday. Yeah, I got a notification from MoDOT saying that, what was it, I-29 was closed. Like, I mean, 70 got all messed up, especially around the 30-mile marker. Light Bright, what's up? Imperial Dropship, Food Mooch, Kevin and Ollie. Kevin, good luck on your new venture. Lee Lost Cause, what's up? So, Coach was over there talking about weather and taking advantage of the rates. And he said something that kind of, I was thinking about that. He said that he's had people contact him that said that this storm was going to make them quit being an owner-operator. I thought that was interesting. And, here's the thing, man. It's there's money to be made out here. And is it the same money we were making over the summer? No. I think Provost and I were talking on Zello, and he talked about a load that he used to do that was paying like literally $1,000 less than what he used to do it for. And I was talking to a couple of friends of mine about the whole, not moving over a certain rate or whatever. And here there's good news and bad news, okay? Let's see here. Daniel Adami is chopped liver. Why are you chopped liver, Daniel? Pale Rider. I'm Small Fry uploaded video this morning. Yeah, I saw it come across. I haven't watched it yet. I promise I will, though. When I first went over to Landstar, rates were really good. And there was probably, I think the load count was at like, I don't know, like in the 30,000 range on, all the low board, all the types of trucks, everything, right? And learning the low board, learning self-dispatch, that was a struggle, but I got through it, figured out the system, mastered the system, and then when I started struggling again, I took what they call the cabs class, and it completely changed my whole outlook of how I look at load boards, or the low board, how I approach, where I wanted to go, what freight lanes, the whole 9 yards. The cabs class was like one of the best things that Landstar ever did for me. And then the rates started dropping. But what was noticeable to me is that volume dropped. It went from, it was down to like 15,000 loads at one point, at the lowest point. And when rates hit rock bottom, I was going over my numbers yesterday, and the numbers aren't too much different than what I was doing at Landstar. The problem that I had at Landstar was that I would call on 15 loads that were on the low board and they weren't really on the low board. That was my biggest issue with Landstar. So if I had to go back now, I think I would handle the system a little bit better. But for the most part, I've talked to recent Landstar owners and they're dealing with the same stuff I did. Except right now, the money's pretty good right there. So what I'm seeing with the freight rates and everything else, every 4 or 5 years, we go through what they call a purge cycle. Okay? Landstar went through a purge cycle because here's the thing with Schneider. Okay, Schneider, once they get a certain above number of owner operators and trucks in general, they put a hiring freeze. They do not screw up their own capacity. Landstar was different. The load count was going down, but the truck count was going up. Last I was there, they were up at 10,000 trucks. And when the low board was down to, 16 to 11,000 loads, that's not a really good capacity number in the truck's favor. So with the cool rates that everybody's been seeing, you have a lot of people, myself included, that came over the spot market. You have a lot of people that went and got their own authority, and you have a lot of people that have flooded the market. There are people at other companies that targeted Schneider guys especially to come over to the spot market, and it's a transition that we've all done, right? And now the market is flooded with people that are able to choose their own freight. They're able to negotiate their rates. There's new carriers, new people, new entrants, what they call, and truck sales went through the roof. It's like a 6 to 8 month waiting list for new trucks. And those are all the signs that things are going to come down. I'm not going to say crashing down, but they're going to come down. And when that video I was watching, when he said that there were people saying that this storm, after the storm, they weren't going to make any money, and therefore they were going to go out of business. That's going to be a common thing that you're going to see. If you go to Facebook on the rate pages, you're seeing a lot of people that are really freaking out. They're really struggling. And, someone on Zillow, I won't say his name, said that he was literally one breakdown from filing bankruptcy. And, and you can't beat yourself up for the way you got into the business, because sometimes you just don't know any better. I didn't know anything when I came into being an owner operator, and I probably should have had more reserves when I started. I probably should have picked a better truck when I started. I probably should have picked the truck with the warranty when I started, but I didn't do any of that. I did it all wrong, but I'm still here. I'm still surviving, right? So, knock on wood, right? But I'm seeing the same patterns that I saw at Landstar, where you're on the phone all day to try to book something for that day, and there's some people say book early, some people book at the last minute, and I'm like, it just depends on the scenario, the situation, But the whole point of this video, besides rambling and killing time while I'm getting loaded, which they're tearing into it, man. I was reading the reviews. This is an Uber load. I was reading the reviews of this place. There was one that said it took the guy 8 hours to load. And I'm like, man, I hope that doesn't happen, because I got to be in Arkansas, by tonight. So you got to kind of keep the faith and strategize and come up with the worst case scenario. If you're looking to come to the spot market, I'm not going to tell you to wait it out. I'm not going to tell you to not do it, because that would be hypocritical of me to do that. But you want to be able to come in here with the worst case scenario prepared for the worst case scenario. In other words, can you survive if rates become lower than the contract rates that you're working for now, if you're in that situation? Whenever you start any business, I don't care if it's a truck, record store, comic book store, any of it, you want to be able to prepare for the worst case scenario and keep the risk to a minimal amount. In other words, don't put all your eggs in one basket where you're going to lose your house and your car and everything else. You know, if the bank takes this truck, I'll take a hit on my credit. Boom, that's it. No big deal, right? If I'm down a month, we've got resources to help with my income. And that is what you have. That's the mindset you have to have. You know, if you look at trucking, it's a roller coaster, right? And right now things are going down. We were way up here, you know, and now we're going back down, right? But eventually, if you survive, you're going to get back up, and you're going to become stronger for it. That's the key. So while everybody else is gloom and doom on Facebook and other social media sites, I'm like, you know what? I've been down this road before, and I'm a much smarter owner operator now than I was when the last time I dealt with this. And what did I do? I made adjustments, went over to Snyder, and got that consistency back up, and boom, you know, I was buying another truck. So whenever I started, we sat down, like, what's the worst case scenario? Okay, well, let's say the truck throws a rod, there's no warranty, right? Well, there are establishments that will help you through that. There are, you know, you don't want to get too much in debt, but you have to weigh out your options. You have to leave yourself, you know, it's just like driving. You have to leave yourself an out, right? That's what they tell you in the Smith system while driving down the road, right? Well, you always have to have a plan of worst case scenario. Always plan a means out. You know, I know owner operators that still own their trucks. They parked them and then they went and drove company, you know, because maybe the company they work for helped make the truck payments, you know, that kind of thing. And you know, there's all these different scenarios. But the other thing is that you have to change your strategy. If you're used to running for $3 a mile doing short hops, and now you're not seeing the $3 mile freight, you make these adjustments. You may, okay, well, if I run more miles, you know, as long as you're not below what you need, you know, that's the other thing. A lot of people don't know the difference between what they want and what they need. I would love for this load that I'm doing now to pay $2,000, but I'm not going to get it, you know, and that is the key. You have to differentiate by doing your numbers of what you need and what you want, because you know, unless you have some kind of leverage like a snowstorm or a freight area that has more loads than trucks, you don't have any leverage. So therefore you're going to be, you know, not a victim, but you're going to be susceptible to what the market is doing. So let's go up. Daniel left Zello. Why did he left Zello? All right, Juan, what's up? Twin Truckers. Hey, I'm picking up wife and giving her first ride on my new vet. You have a good day. I'm glad you're getting better there, Thomas. Hey, Gary, what's up? Dice Man, what's up? Chico. Tow trucks and plow trucks not doing major plowing until 11 a.m. Yeah, 70's all messed up, man. 37,941 loads available right now. Is that on the Landstar board, Pilgrim? Because it wasn't like that when I was there. Basically, it will level out, right? You're right, Arturo. New House, what's up? Next Gen. Big Rig CEO, how's it going? Know your markets. It ain't rocket science, right? And like, for example, if you live in Dallas, Texas, master the Dallas, Texas market because you're going to have to use it. If you live in Florida, master the Florida market. Find the brokers that have the freight coming in or going out. Find the brokers in the dead areas so you can negotiate a good area going in and you're not taking a hit coming out. Big Rick CEO, thank you for the coffee. $2. James Best, darn commercials, right? You got to save for rainy days when rates are low, right? Don't put your eggs in one basket. It's like watching the world implode. I'm enjoying the view. Due to icy conditions, my company put me up in a Hilton hotel, paid 10 hours layover, and provided only $75 in food allowance. Shouldn't have been a lot more. Should I call the labor board? You should. I think you're doing all right there. Bill, what's up? Bobby G, it feels like there's a lot of fear mongering on social media about rates and stuff. Well, Bobby, I think that I know I'm behind on comments, and my suspension gauge is showing that I'm getting closer to being loaded. There is a lot of fear mongering, but like Big Rich said, you just gotta kind of watch it all, and while everybody's freaking out, slow and steady wins the race. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a learning experience, but still worth the freedom. Right, global warmer. That is the thing, man. I only joined the spot market because of the program that Like Trucking has. Any other place, I don't know, I'd be leery about their expenses and everything else. And so I came into this with a lot of confidence, but I also looked at the worst case scenario. And Jeff did that for me. Jeff's like, oh, well, Steve, if you do this, this, and this, and at the worst, this will happen. Trailers retain their value. You can always park your trailer and go to Snyder if you absolutely had to, and I'll still make the payments. But there's no need for it. I'm doing all right. Am I blazing trails right now? No. Do I need to work a little bit harder? Yes. But see, that's the other thing. You got to be able to look at yourself and figure out what your faults are and then work on them, and that's kind of what my diet has kind of taught me is like, okay, I tend to eat this, and this, and now I need to like eliminate those. So let's look at the situations where I'm bad about that. And as a business person, you have to look at yourself. What are your faults? Look at yourself like an outsider would. And like, okay, what do I have a tendency to do? I have a tendency to sit, or I have a tendency to stay at home too much, or I have a tendency to run the wrong areas. And then, and then you go from there and work on fixing those things. Because again, it's a marathon, A friend of mine said that if you can't afford to run at $1.60 a mile, you're going to have problems. And he's not saying run for $1.60 a mile. I mean, when you can get it. But you have to look at your worst case scenario. And even the high Schneider Finance guys, their expenses are around $1.30, $1.40 a mile. So they could also survive off $1.60. So, it's a constantly changing game. There's only one thing that stays the same in trucking is that it's always changing. If that makes sense. Anthony T, thank you. Oh, Ralph, thank you. Yeah, sorry I missed you in Big Cabin. A lot of it's built up, Bobby G, but for the unprepared, there's definitely a reason to be concerned. Right. Calm seas never made a good sailor. Right. So if you guys, I'll level with. Let me go through the comments here. Damn. Got your pickup truck in late January, early February. It's scary. You pick up your truck in late January, early February. You might still be okay, Bobby G. You have a question about brokers? I don't know, Food Mooch. I don't know about the Hopper world. Commander Vlogs, thank you. How's it going? Okay, so we're seeing an increase in volume. They said that the Black Friday sales were the highest that they've been in 5 years, okay? So the retail outlets were prepared. There was some surgence of freight, but not much. There was some upswing on the rates, but not much. That doesn't coincide with what the sales did. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the retail outlets and the warehouses figured out how to trickle everything in so they weren't paying premium price in December. And they've had the best sales that they've had. That shows a strong economy. But however, when we're out there making, $3 and $4 and $5 a mile constantly, they need to lower their costs, so they figure out how to do it, okay? And since everybody was making bank, everybody came over here, and now we've got too many trucks, and you could sit there and blame carriers and mega carriers and blame the uneducated and all that stuff, but the reality is there's too many trucks per loads, and so we have no leverage. You might be able to find a red state, or a hot state, a hot market state, take advantage of a snowstorm or, FEMA or something like that and make some good rates. But for the most part, we have no leverage at this point. Okay. So with the Christmas rush, we're getting a little bit of, but it's only going to last for 2 weeks, guys. Christmas is, by the week before Christmas, it's a wrap. And, short of like Amazon, UPS, stuff like that, which, I know people that are doing that, power only. I've got a friend doing power only for UPS, and I've got a couple of friends doing the Amazon thing. And that lasts till January 12th. So what that tells me is that come January and February, this is what happened to me at Landstar. I didn't take advantage of holiday rates at one point. I didn't work hard enough. And come January, I knew it was going to drop, but I had no idea how bad it would. And it dropped. It dropped like a freaking anvil in the lake. And it was a struggle, okay? My prediction is that January and February are going to be rough. So you need to prepare for the worst case scenario now. And that either means find a strategy or figure out what your costs are and lower them, or have a backup plan. And I'm not trying to put fear mongering. I'm not trying to put this doom and gloom. I'm just telling you reality from what I've experienced in the past. January is going to get rough. They use trains and mega carriers to deliver locally originally. I agree with you, Big Rich. A lot of that California freight came on rail. I see a little still. Next gen. You guys are singing Queen. Who's losing a wrench? Daniel Anami, what are you causing problems in my live feed? Steve, finally flying out, pick up my truck I bought tomorrow. Question: when am I required to pay for my 2290, and how much is it approximately? Your carrier is going to need a copy of that 2290. So what will happen is you file for the 2290 with that truck, and they're going to prorate it from now until July, I believe. So it should only be $200 or $300, and but they have to prorate it. So that's something that your carrier is going to want for that truck. That's like when you switch carriers. If I wanted to switch carriers right now, they're going to need a copy of my tag, my registration, somewhat the lease agreement, like for the truck, and then your 2290. Doesn't freight drop every January though? Yes, it does. And if people are having problems now, when there's more freight on the board and the rates are then what do you think is going to happen in January? So I do Amazon loads this past January, February. Wasn't bad. It was consistent freight. There you go. Consistency is key. I hear you, Commander Vlogs. Daniel Adami did not leave Zello. I don't know why he said he left Zello. RBT is making $4K a week. Good for him. So you got to keep your chin up. You got to keep persevering. And if you really love doing this, man, you're going to make it. I don't want to be all negative here. I just want to be real. I want to be realistic. You got to have a realistic outlook. Hell, I might not even make it. You never know. But I've surrounded myself with friends that will help me if I get in the jam. And that's key as well, And you got to be positive, and you have to differentiate moving for what you need and moving for what you want. I try to be somewhere in the middle. I have a bottom line that I will not move, and then I have a line that, okay, I'll move for that, but it's going to be something I know. It's going to be something light. It's going to be something easy. And you have to strategize. Here's a good example, right? So the load I'm picking up now is in Fort Gibson, Oklahoma. I deadheaded here from Sanger, Texas. That's like 260 miles. And this load is going to a place I've been to a million times, and it only takes an hour to unload. They're in Arkansas, right? And Arkansas is a better market than Texas right now, or the Dallas area, right? Now, I got a really good rate going to Sanger. Really good rate. And that was the advantage of working on a Sunday. Sunday delivery, you better be getting a premium rate, right? So I was looking at the posted rates of the Click and Go apps and what was posted on the DAP board yesterday in the 123 load board. And then I found this load on Uber that literally paid, if I deadhead from Sanger to here and make the delivery, all miles was still better than the rates that I was seeing coming out of Dallas for 1,000 miles. Like, and I'm like, so half my miles are empty. The other half are loaded, straight shot down I-40, and then I'm done. So, and I found the load on a Sunday morning. Now, of course, so I did my deadhead yesterday to Muskogee, but and that was the trick that I learned at Schneider. Schneider, they give you, when you look at a load, you look at the paid miles, the loaded miles, and then the all miles, and you pay attention to the all mile number. Schneider makes it easy; they do all the math for you. So you could be looking at a $3 mile load that's 200 miles away, and then you look and like, oh, well, it's still $1.50. That's still above where I need to be. So you go and do it. And The only time deadhead hurts you is if the time hurts you. Like if something needs to be picked up today and delivered tomorrow, 500 miles away, you can't be 200 miles to pick that up, or else you're going to lose a day. You know, it's little things like that I've learned that if I had to go back to the Landstar system, I could. Would I go back to Landstar? No. I would go back to Snyder before I went back to Landstar. But I'm happy here, so there's no reason for it. I have so much opportunity. In fact, a couple of the opportunities I have, if the freight gets low, is only because I'm at Like Trucking, not because, it's something I couldn't do at Snyder and something I definitely couldn't do at Landstar. My depressing digital noise is bumming you out. Cool. Yeah, rates out of Dallas do suck. But see, here's the thing. I got a really good rate going in. So, and I didn't even have to go to Dallas. That was the beauty of it. You know? That's the beauty of it is Sanger is what, an hour north of Dallas? So yeah. So I went to that brand new Loves, looked on the load board. Boom, I had a Snyder flashback. I actually clicked and booked a load as I'm, on a Sunday, and it was nice. And the rates that were coming out of Dallas weren't that great. So, but this load here paid well. I don't know if it's the usually stuff coming out of Oklahoma. I don't. Oklahoma's a weird state because you can usually negotiate a decent rate going in, but the long haul stuff out of here there's not that whole lot, but the short haul stuff out of here is a decent number, and usually it's a decent rate. My live feed chat's not auto feeding, so don't listen to Pale Rider. Well, that's very mean of you. That's very mean of you, Daniel. So anyways, that's all I had to say. My suspension gauge says that there's probably about 2 more pallets that they got to put on, 2 or 4. It's a heavy load, but thank you for the super chat, guys. Big Rig CEO. He's had some really good videos here lately. He's got a really good channel. Zillow is where you look up house prices. There you go. Well, thank you, Chico. I'm feeling slimmer, man. I've got a couple of friends on board with this low carb diet, and there's something to it. The science is there, man. There's something to it. Coffee. I got that Scottish coffee that Pilot has. What I call it? I did a coffee review on it a couple weeks ago. I've been taking my daughter to the Metallica concert tonight. I got an extra ticket for you if you can make it down here. Man, I wish I could. I have yet to see Metallica. I would love to see Metallica, but I think they're playing Tulsa in January, and I don't even know if tickets are available. And if they are, they're like sky high. Is a bully. Plug me. Salty Pirate. Okay, so Salty Pirate. You asked for it. Salty Pirate's got a channel, right? He's a new owner-operator. He works for Advanced Trucking. He's in the spot market. He did a couple of videos I didn't like, and I unsubbed from him because it was talking about all the same crap that everybody else is talking about, right? But I resubscribed to him. He's dropped all the drama stuff, and he's good to go now. So everybody check out Salty Pirate. Natas, Highlander. Yeah, there you go. I haven't seen you in a minute, Natas. I don't think. Speaking of Satan, the new Behemoth album is pretty dang good, man. Gotta love it. I know 90% of you are like, what? What are you talking about? Big road, little truck. I will. Tell you what, Nate has Behemoth is the best concert I've ever been to as far as like death metal. Um, they put on a show, man. It was intense. You know, and Amon Amarth comes in a close second. Ike Stevens, what's up? But anyways, you got to have strategies, man. You got to have strategies. And speaking of death metal, did anybody listen to my podcast last night? Probably I did. Hell, I missed part of it. I played a little bit of Iron Maiden. I played some Judas Priest. I played some Flotsam and Jetsam. I played some Pantera. I played let's see, Jungle Rot, King's X. I played. I go a variety, man. It went from King's X to Jungle Rot, and it's about an hour long. It's Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern, or 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central. Yeah, Juan. I played Over My Head. That to me, that's my favorite song of theirs. And then Dogman's the second favorite song. You've been to Slipknot? I like Slipknot. I don't like, you know what's weird is I like the stuff that no one else likes when it comes to Slipknot. Like I like that latest album that they put out a couple of years ago. I like that album. The first album is like, eh. I didn't like his clean vocals, you know, very whiny. You know, there's a way to do clean vocals and there's a way not to do clean vocals. And these bands that mix it up, if they sound whiny, man, I hate it. And yeah, so I hear you, Ike. But anyways, I think they got me close. Well, a couple more pallets. They probably have me. Anyways, guys, keep your chin up, man. It's gonna get. There's a storm coming. Okay, if you want to get all metaphorical, there's a storm coming. I know Ike was talking about it last night about how him and his family are prepared, and that's what you got to do. You got to insulate yourself to where, if rates hit rock bottom, figure out how to move consistently and efficiently. That's how you run any business. And once you weather that storm, you're going to be a better owner operator, a better business person for it. And that's all there is to it. You got to have a positive outlook. You got to surround yourself with positive people. You got to surround yourself with people that are willing to help you out. You know, being a carrier that embraces you and helps you in your time of need. It's low. That's the secret. Ricky Bobby, that's true. But you also need to be able to put money aside because, you know, at the end of the year, you got to look at your numbers. And you got to look at your numbers and see how much, like I've put $7,000 in repairs in this truck this year. Okay. So that comes out to, I don't run that many miles, and that's part of my problem. I need to run a few more miles, right? And right now I'm sitting at 13 cents a mile in truck repairs. So, you know, because I use Truckin' Pro and it breaks down every single thing down to the penny. Like I'm like 1/10 of a cent on truck washes for the year. You know, that kind of thing. It breaks it down pretty good. And so you look at, okay, so if I take 13 cents a mile that I earn and put it aside for maintenance, that's going to cover the cost of the truck. That's kind of how you have to look at that. And if you're interested in Trucking Pro, go to foglinesoftware.com, type in SA10, and you'll get $10 off. But I've been using it before. I had my code for you guys, and I don't really push the code too much. Because I think I'm the only one at Like Trucking using Trucking Pro, but look at those breakdowns. Every time I'm home, at least once a month, I'll print out my own P&L report, and I have that with me. And then I look at everything, and then when I'm determining where I want to go, what lanes do I want to run, what freight do I want to do, and what rate am I able to get, I've got that right in front of me to be able to determine whether that load or run's going to be profitable or not. And knowing your numbers, you can't survive out here if you don't know your numbers. And that was one of my other mistakes at Landstar. Had I been on top of my numbers from the beginning, I would have made a lot of things different. I'm not blaming Landstar for my, I almost said failure. I didn't really fail. I just left. But I am going to blame some of my suffering and learning curve on the fact that I didn't keep track of my numbers as much as I do now. Sure, Daniel. Right, Commander Vlogs. That's true. It's smart to set money aside, because think about it, guys. Your whole business is based around this vehicle. It's a depreciating asset. I don't care if you got the nicest truck out there, it's still a depreciating asset that is prone to mechanical failure. And there's not a truck out there that doesn't have at least one breakdown or one issue at one point or another. It just doesn't happen. And when you come from a company mindset, you put the truck in the shop, and while you're home for the weekend, they fix everything. You don't see the blood, sweat, and tears from getting that truck fixed. If the truck is down so hard, they put you in another truck. As an owner operator, you don't have that opportunity. And so you have to set money aside. Schneider forces you to do the maintenance account, and it's like so much per week. Other companies like KLM, they make you do like 10 or 11 or 12 cents a mile up to $10,000. And then from there, you can choose what to do. And I would still set money back, maybe not 10 cents a mile, but still 5 if you got 10,000 in the bank. And that way, you're not saying things like, I'm one breakdown from bankruptcy, because, the other thing is keep your credit good, because if I throw a rod tomorrow and I show up at Kenworth, there are loan companies that will loan me money to rebuild the engine, to deal with the catastrophic failure. So keeping your credit in check is important as well. Both your personal and your business credit. If you're a single owner operator, even if you're a sole proprietor LLC, they're going to go off your personal credit anyways. Thank you for putting the code up. Asian My Show, what's up? I agree, Horn Dog, and it's easy. Sometimes it's hard to do that, Horn Dog. It's but again, it comes out to self-discipline and running your strategy. That's the thing about the Trucking Pro, is I could put that truck repair in, whether I've paid for it cash or credit card, and know how much I need to be making. And then it's a case of willpower to be able to make above the minimum payments. Credit can be a useful tool, but it can also be your enemy as well. Fogline Software, Nettie. Someone put that up. Foglinesoftware.com. Big Rig CEO says Rach and Snyder are still very consistent, getting $3 out of Dallas on short runs. Say it ain't so, Big Rig CEO. You talk to most people and they're like, oh, the Rach and Snyder suck. Well, there you go. They're straight from the horse's mouth, right? Rach and Snyder are actually pretty good. Why is everybody spending bad stuff about Daniel? All right, Commander Vlog. See you. Life is hard sometimes. At time, life is hard times. Sometimes you just keep on having breakdowns and problems all year. Some luck is important too. I agree. Asia My Show. And it's through struggles that we become stronger. So keep your head up. You know, and if you feel like one storm or one breakdown is going to take you out, then you need to have a plan in place to make sure that doesn't happen. That's the simplicity of it. I'm all about simplicity. And at the end of the day, it's all up here. You know, I did a video a year and a half or so ago about to succeed as a Snyder owner-operator, you had to be flexible. Like when you do the same 4 loads, the 4 runs, and then all of a sudden they disappear, now you're struggling because you didn't know how to look at the rest of the load board, you didn't know how to master the system. You have to have flexibility and the ability to sacrifice no matter who you work for. And the same principles I talked about in that Snyder video are the same for the spot market. They're same for any carrier that you're at, where you control your destiny, where you control where you go. And if you live in a dead-end area, then you need to figure out how to best utilize that area to your advantage. You know, find the other drivers that live in your area and say, what do you do to get out? What do you do to go in? What do you do to deal with this, dollar mile freight that's coming out? That kind of thing. Network. Be a positive person that people will want to talk to you. If you're always negative, no one's going to want to help you. No one's going to want to, give you a hand. On our Zello channel, That's Trucking, we're always helping each other with the rates. Big Rich is always helping people out. And we've got some people that are new to the program, like Daniel Ladami, So, anyways, how long have we been on? 48 minutes? We'll go to an hour or until they get... Well, I'm loaded, guys. My suspension gauge is there. So, thanks for watching, guys. Keep your chin up. It's going to get rough, man. I'm not going to say that rates are going to bottom out or anything in January, but that potential is there. That possibility is there. So you need to prepare for the worst and then try your best. That's all I can tell you. So if you want to track your numbers, look at the links that Daniel's put up. And I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. And keep the pedal to the metal.